President Biden began his State of the Union address last night with a call for unity. Well, that didn't last too long, urging Congress to restore the soul of this nation. Now, he proceeded then to ignore his own call, instead pushing the extreme positions of the left, abortion until birth, transgender ideology, a continuation of his open border policy, and more. While he talks unity, his walk is division. The president also claimed that Republicans have called to end Social Security and Medicare, despite repeated assurances from Republican leadership that they have not even considered such measures. The president's claims are a distortion at best, as I mentioned, or at worst, an outright lie about the plan my next guest has put forward to rescue America. Florida Senator Rick Scott. Senator, welcome back to the program.
I think the right word is lie. I don't think we're supposed to call people liars, but what he said is a lie. You can't make this stuff up. So I put out a plan. You can go to rescueamerica.com, and it says, look, let's come up with some ideas how to make this a better place. Let's get family back into, promote families, promote God, get God back into life, things like that. Make sure we, respect human life. But anyway, one section says we should sunset, the laws and regulations unless we want to keep them. So he wants to put out there that we want to cut Medicare and Social Security, which is a lie. But guess what's even better? He actually did a bill to sunset everything. And then let me give you the quote of what he said about when I argued that we should freeze federal spending. I meant Social Security as well, Medicare, Medicaid, veterans benefits. I meant every single solitary thing in the government, quote unquote, by Joe Biden as a U.S. Senator. So he might be a little bit of a hypocrite. And then, as you know, in September, he signed a bill to cut $280 billion out of Medicare, which will cut life-saving drugs. So he might be a liar, he might be a hypocrite, but he's one of those things. Could be clueless.
What is very frustrating, and this is, I'm sure, frustrating to you and to others, is that the Republicans have been very clear about this, responding to this from day one when they made this comment. I've had the chairman of every committee in the House on this program that deals with Medicare and Social Security. I've had the Republican majority leader on the program talking about it, saying, we're not even considering that. Hasn't even come up in discussion. We're not going to happen. You've responded and said, that's not what we're talking about here. But he continues to push this. As you said last night in an interview, he's lying. This is politics at its worst.
Yeah, but what he's trying to do is just scare people. And by the way, if we don't balance our budget, guess what? If we don't do anything in 10 to 12 years, Social Security, you have over a 20% cut in Social Security. So if we just sit here, do what the Democrats want to do, just keep spending money, just an automatic 20% cut. On top of that, we will run out of money.
Right.
Eventually, the bondholders are not going to lend us money. And we can balance this budget. We don't have to, actually, we can balance the budget. Biden could actually pay the interest without even any bills passing. But we got a lot of ideas of how to do this. And we've got to get our fiscal house in order, and we got to preserve Medicare, and we got to preserve Social Security, Medicaid, all these safety net programs that are important to people.
Yeah, because they won't be around. You're absolutely right. They won't be around because we won't be able to afford them because we'll have an implosion. Yesterday, I had your colleague, Senator John Cornyn, part of the leadership team over there in the Senate, asking, will the Republicans in the Senate back up the House Republicans who are saying we will not pass a debt ceiling raise without some spending reforms? He said Republicans will stand with them in the Senate. Is that your sense as well?
Absolutely. We're working hard with the House. Kevin McCarthy was at our conference today. The Republican senators had a conference today. He came at lunch. He did a really good job talking about how we're going to work together to responsibly raise the debt ceiling. We're going to focus on getting structural changes that will ultimately balance the budget, and how we're going to look at every dime we can right now to save money on programs that would be maybe nice to have, but when you have, $31.5 trillion worth of debt, you can't spend the money like that.
Last night, one of the things that I heard nothing about, there was no mention of something that the entire country had been fixated on for about a week that was floating across the country. It's as if the Chinese spy balloon never existed. Why did the president not address that issue?
Well, think about it. He didn't address that. He couldn't explain why he didn't do something about it before he ever got into the U.S. airspace. He didn't talk about how he's going to cut inflation. He didn't talk about how he's going to make us energy independent. He didn't talk about how he's going to secure the border. Something important in Florida, he didn't talk about how he's going to promote liberty and freedom and democracy in Latin America. He didn't focus on how he's going to hold anything, the Chinese government accountable. So, I mean, it was just a wasteful, we sit there, it was a wasteful 2 hours of our time.
He did focus on things that he can't do anything about. He called for teachers to get raises. I thought that was a state issue. I thought that was something. Yeah, he talked about other people doing work, but when it came to the work that he needs to do, this is almost laughable when he talks about reducing the price of concert tickets because of fees that are placed on and resort fees, but yet he doesn't address the border and the drugs that are coming across the border because of his policy.
Tony, my guest last night was a police chief down in the Miami area. So in his job, he deals with fentanyl overdose and drug overdose. But on top of that, he lost his son, his 32-year-old son, a year ago to fentanyl overdose. So 70,000 people died of fentanyl overdose last year. 107,000 people died of drug overdose. A lot of it's coming from China through the cartels. But the Biden administration doesn't care. I asked my workers, why don't you guys care about all these people dying? I mean, if you look at your actions, you clearly don't care about people in America dying from fentanyl overdose.
We've talked about a lot of the points the president brought up last night, but anything else that just surprised you that was in or not in the president's remarks last night?
I mean, if you look at the issues, not addressing China, not addressing Latin America, but look at some big issues: inflation, gas prices, border, China, Latin America for us in Florida. I'm trying to think. I sat there and tried to think, what did he propose that actually has a chance? So I did attack, he did attack the law enforcement. He did attack the rich. He attacked corporations, as far as I remember. But he didn't. He started the speech unifying, and then the whole speech was, trying to divide us. We've got to get a president that's going to bring us together. That's what I tried to do when I was governor of Florida. I didn't talk about party. I talked about solving problems. I represent everybody. That's what we need to have a president like that.
Well, as governor, one of the ways you do bring people together is when you have an external threat that you focus people on. And as governor, you had the hurricanes, you had the storms. People come together for those. And historically speaking, we know this from civilizations, when there are external threats that then unify people to focus on. And quite frankly, that's what China is. China is a threat to this country, economically, militarily, but the absence of his concern or maybe compromise, I have no idea. I cannot figure out why. I cannot figure out why he is so soft on China.
Tony, one thing I always tell everybody is, each of us should take everything into control. What can we do? So right now, every American, if you want to hold China accountable, don't ever buy another product from China.
Absolutely.
If you can find out on their website where it's made, don't buy it.
Absolutely.
And then eventually these companies will start telling us where they're made.
And they're hiding it. They're hiding because on Amazon, when I buy something on Amazon, I search to find out where it's bought, and I'll often email and ask, where's this made?
Oh yeah, they try to hide. I've had a bill since I've been up here. I've been up here 4 years that would require Amazon and any online retailer to disclose country of origin. They fight it. They have their lobbyists fight it all the time because they're making a fortune off of selling us junk from China. And so I look at every American company and say, act American. Act American, act in the best interest of America, your kids, your grandkids. That means you don't do business with China.
Right.
It's not the people of China, it's the government of China.
Absolutely. And we're a stronger country for it. Senator, always great to talk with you. Thanks so much for taking time to join us this afternoon.
See you, Tony. Have a great day. Bye-bye.